Now we got the basic Node and Express app set up. It's not very powerful yet, but we'll get there. I want to improve the server.js file simply to add some error handling and better output. And attached to this video, you find a file with the content I'm about to paste in, and I'll replace the entire content in the server.js file with that code. It's a bit more, but I will walk you through it. Now I'm still importing app and my HTTP package, so make sure that path to your app file is correct. By the way, as you see and as you saw in the last lecture, you omit .js. And then I got this normalized port function, a bit of a more elaborate function that simply makes sure that when we try to set up a port, and especially when we receive it through an environment variable, we actually make sure it's a valid number if we want to use it. Then I got an onError function here, which will simply check which type of error occurred and, well, log something different and exit gracefully from our Node.js server. We got onListening, another function which is stored in this constant, an arrow function just like onError, where we essentially just output or where we log that we are now listening to incoming requests. Then here I'm setting up the port, calling that normalized port function from up there, and then still accessing process and port or setting 3000 as a value. Here as a string, you could pass a number too, but I'm using a string here because the value we receive here typically would be a string. I'm setting this on my Express app. We set up that Node server, and then I register 2 listeners, one for errors that might occur, where we will use the error handler here, and one for whenever we start listening, well, then I will simply call onListening. And these are simply executed to tell us if something went wrong with starting the server or if everything went smooth. And then I do start the server. Now that's one improvement. And what we needed to do, if we hadn't quit the server already, we would need to quit and restart to see that in action. Now, constantly being required to quit the server and restart it will become annoying, so I will install an extra package which we can use during development, which makes it a bit easier. So we'll use npm to install that package, npm install --save-dev actually, because it's a development-only dependency. And it's called NodeMon for Node Monitor. It's a powerful tool which simply watches our Node.js file or our JavaScript files in general, and if we change one of them, it will automatically restart the Node server for us. Now with it installed, we just have to use it to run our Node server. We won't use Node and then the server name anymore. Instead, it will be NodeMon, but since we haven't installed it globally on our machine, this command is actually not available. But it is available inside of this project scope. So what we can do is we can go to the package.json file, and there we find the scripts section, and we can just register a new script here like start:server. The name is up to you. And then between the quotation marks on the right, you enter the command you want to use. And here you can use NodeMon because it's a local dependency of this project, and then server.js. And now we can run this script with npm run and then start server or whatever your name is. And this will now use NodeMon to spin up that server, and we get an error, but in general it's working. And there's one thing missing in the attached file. Yes, sorry, you need to import one other package, debug, require the debug package, and pass any identifier you want here, like Node Angular, that is up to you. Save this, and now we at least saw the restart in action. So now it started the server. This, by the way, is also a package shipping with Node, so you don't need to install it. And now we got a setup where we can change our server-side code. And for example, if I add an extra blank line here, and if we save, it will automatically restart the server. So with that, we got a nice development environment, a nice setup. Let's now finally make our app more useful and provide a route from which we can fetch some initial posts. Wouldn't that be great?